Welcome to my newly launched YouTube channel, Zombify Me. I manually sketch zombie versions of photos you send in, all by hand, while telling scary stories along the way. Hope you find it unsettling, entertaining, and worth sticking around for. For our first story, I want to tell you about the Villisca Axe Murder House. If you haven't heard this story before, stick around, because it gets pretty disturbing. So this happened back in 1912, Villisca, Iowa. Really small town, like nothing happens there kind of town. Everybody knows everybody, quiet, safe, that kind of place. There was a family called the Moores, Josiah Moore, his wife Sarah, and their 4 kids. Normal family, church-going, well-liked, nothing strange about them at all. That night, they went to a church event, and afterward, they invited 2 girls from the church to come back to their house and stay the night. Lena and Ina Stillinger. That was, the last normal decision made in that house. Sometime after midnight, someone entered the home, and right away, that's where things get weird. Because there were no signs of a break-in, no broken windows, no kicked-in doors, nothing. So either the killer knew how to get in, or they didn't need to force their way in at all. They used an axe, one that was already on the property, but they didn't use the blade. They used the blunt side. And I don't know why, but that detail always bothered me more than anything else. Every person was hit multiple times, even after they were dead. And then, after that, the killer covered their faces, all of them, with sheets, clothes, whatever was nearby. Like they didn't want to look at what they'd done, or maybe they didn't want to be looked back at. Then they went through the house and covered every mirror. Every single one. No one has ever been able to explain that part. They found a slab of bacon near the axe, just sitting there, like someone had taken a break. And the killer washed up before leaving. They didn't rush. That's the part that makes this whole thing feel wrong. They took their time. By morning, all 8 people were dead. 6 of them were kids. The town was destroyed by it. I mean, this kind of thing just didn't happen there. Ever. There were suspects, a traveling preacher, a possible serial killer. People were accused, questioned, let go. Nothing ever stuck. The case went cold. But the house didn't. Pretty much right away, people started saying things, hearing things, seeing lights on at night when no one was inside, hearing kids crying. At first, people probably thought it was just grief, or imagination, or, small town rumors. But the stories never stopped. Years later, when the house was opened up to visitors, that's when things got worse. People started staying overnight. Paranormal investigators, curious tourists, skeptics. And what's weird is, a lot of them experienced the same stuff. Even people who didn't know the full story. They'd hear footsteps upstairs, kids laughing, whispering, someone calling their name when no one else was there. A lot of people talk about the kids' room. That's where things seem to happen the most. People say it feels heavier in there, like the air is different. Some recordings supposedly captured a child's voice saying things like, "Don't," or "Stop." And yeah, I know audio recordings can be faked. I get that. But then you hear how often people say the same thing, and it gets harder to brush off. Some people reported being touched, grabbed, pushed. One guy said he was pushed down the stairs. Another said he felt a small hand grab his arm in the dark. Others woke up with scratches, bruises, headaches that came out of nowhere, sudden panic for no reason at all. And the thing that comes up the most is the feeling of being watched. Not like someone standing in the corner watching you, more like the whole house is aware you're there. And yeah, skeptics will say old houses make noise, and fear messes with your head. And I agree with that, to a point. But here's the thing that always gets me. People who don't know the story experience the same stuff. Same rooms, same feelings, same sounds. And then there's this thought that I can't really shake. The killer didn't act like someone afraid of being caught. They moved calmly, methodically. They covered faces, covered mirrors, washed up, ate. That doesn't feel like panic. That feels like comfort. So sometimes I wonder if the reason the house feels the way it does isn't because of ghosts, or tragedy, or energy trapped in the walls. Maybe it's because something still thinks it belongs there. And if that's true, then anyone who stays the night isn't investigating anything. They're intruding. And some places don't like being disturbed. Yeah, that one still messes with me. I've got another story for you in a bit. I'm still finishing up this sketch. Just need to ink the hair and add a little more shading here and there. This one's bad. Like, not flashy scary, just really unsettling the more you sit with it. It happened in Germany, back in 1922. There was this remote farmstead called Hinterkaifeck. It wasn't really a town, more like a few buildings in the middle of nowhere, woods around it, long walk to the nearest neighbor. The kind of place where if something went wrong, no one would notice right away. A family lived there, the Grubers. Andreas and his wife, their adult daughter Victoria, her 2 young kids, and a maid who had just started working there. 6 people total. A few days before anything happened, Andreas, the father, noticed something strange. He found footprints in the snow leading from the forest to the house, but there were no footprints leading back. At first, he probably tried to explain it away. You know, maybe someone wandered by, maybe the snow drifted. But then more things started happening. He heard footsteps in the attic, like someone walking around up there. He went up to check, found nothing. No one. Tools started going missing. Keys disappeared. The dog was acting weird, aggressive, barking at nothing. And here's the part that really gets me. He never told the police. He told neighbors. He mentioned it casually, like it was unsettling, but not enough to leave, not enough to run. And then, a few days later, everything stopped. The mail piled up. Smoke stopped coming from the chimney. The animals were still alive, though, being fed, milked, which is weird, because no one had seen the family. Eventually, neighbors went to check on them. What they found was, yeah. One by one, the family had been lured into the barn. The murder weapon was a mattock, basically an axe with a spike. Each person was killed there, one at a time. The kids were last. Then the killer went inside the house and killed the maid in her bed. And this part messes with people. Evidence suggested the killer stayed there for days. They fed the animals. They ate food from the kitchen. They slept in the house after killing everyone. So it wasn't a robbery. Nothing important was taken. No panic, no rush, just comfort. The police investigated. Hard. Tons of suspects. Neighbors, former lovers, even family members. But nothing ever stuck. The murder weapon? Never found. The killer? Never identified. And then, this is the detail I always come back to. Years later, when the house was being torn down, workers claimed they heard noises inside. Footsteps, whispers. They got so uncomfortable that some of them refused to continue. And yeah, you can say that's nerves or imagination. But when you stack everything together, the footprints, the attic noises, the missing keys, the fact that someone stayed after, it starts to feel less like a crime and more like an intrusion that never ended. Like someone arrived and just never left. And that's the part I can't really shake. Because whatever happened at Hinterkaifeck didn't feel rushed, or desperate, or sloppy. It felt patient. And honestly, that's worse. The two stories I told you actually have a lot in common. I mean, besides the axe. In both cases, whoever did it wasn't really in a rush. They were comfortable. That's why I picked these for the first episode. And, yeah, that also means we're almost done. I hope you enjoyed these true stories. I'm gonna scan this drawing next and color it digitally. I just find it easier to fix my mistakes once I move into a digital medium after doing everything by hand. So yeah, here it is. What do you think? And if you're interested in me zombifying you, feel free to reach out directly. All my info's in the description below. Send me your photo and I'll get you in for a future episode. Until then, I'll see you next time.